I served from August 2002 to May 2007 in the U.S. Army. I served in Korea for 2 years, Iraq for a year, Colorado for a year, and Fort Leavenworth for a year.
When did you start to get sick?
Right after I got out of Iraq.
What symptoms did you experience?
It was a dry heave. When I could be driving, I could be sitting there talking to somebody, it could be out of nowhere. It wasn't followed after eating anything. Honestly, it would come out of nowhere, and it would be dry heaving to the point of my stomach hurting. I have to pull over the car if it happened. Feel like it was twisting my stomach when I was doing it.
As time has passed, has it gotten better or worse?
It's actually gotten worse to the point of having extremely bad heartburn. I could eat a piece of bread and it give me heartburn. I could drink a cup of coffee, it give me heartburn. I could drink water and it give me heartburn. I literally can think about the word heartburn and get pain in my chest.
Have there been any other symptoms or illnesses that you've been experiencing?
Yes. In fact, I've had quite a bit of nerve issues since I got out. In 2015, I was diagnosed with carpal tunnel in both wrists at the age of 32, which is extremely young, but it is probable to happen because I would put my hand above my head, my arm would go completely numb, and that was within a matter of 5 or 6 seconds. After that, it progressed after the carpal tunnel syndrome. After they got the release done, the issues progressed to the point where I went into the ER this past summer because I was having burning in my feet. It was numb, and I would lose my balance every once in a while. I was diagnosed with mild neuropathy. Doctors can't tell me why. I don't have diabetes. I go to the gym. I'm in fairly good health. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. And just kind of dealing with all of that.
How long did it take you to get VA healthcare, and what did you have to go through to get it?
I got out in 2007. I didn't get VA healthcare until 2014. I was told over and over again that I didn't qualify. I actually went to a civilian doctor for healthcare who said they've treated depression or anxiety, things associated with PTSD. They actually put me on lithium, and I had a bad reaction to that lithium where I was projectile vomiting. I was having auditory and hallucinations, visual hallucinations. And instead of taking me off that, they actually upped the amount of lithium and put me on a blood thinner as a anti-anxiety. That ended me up in the hospital in 2014 fighting for my life. At that point, I reattempted to gain access to the VA healthcare system and went through a different location, and I was actually able to get it right away.
Do you remember what blood thinner they put you on?
I do not know. Yeah.
Does Coumadin, Xarelto, any of those sound familiar?
If I heard it or saw it, I'd probably recognize it because I was on it and it almost killed me. But I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Because even the ER doctor, when I went there, I said it. The doctor told me to take it as needed, and he didn't believe me until he actually looked up the prescription, and it was take as needed.
Well, you got me stumped. That's the first I've heard that one.
Yeah, he almost killed me. It was scary. Yeah.
And you said that was a civilian doctor who put you.
I was a civilian before I got to VA healthcare. Yes.
Okay. Well, as long as we're talking about medicines, what types of medicines have you been on since you went to the VA?
Just all the antidepressants. I mean, You name it, I've been on it. I guarantee it.
Okay.
I wish I could pull up this stuff. I had one at one point, but I don't have them with me right now.
Have they said why they feel like they need to put you on some psychiatric medications for your symptoms?
Because they say the PTSD bipolar.
Okay, so they think that your symptoms are physical manifestations of PTSD and bipolar?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Was that diagnosis made by a general care physician, or was that made by a psychiatrist?
That was made by a general care. It was made by a GCP, and then it was also made by a psychiatrist at the VA as well.
Did you have any relief from taking any of these medications with your symptoms?
I don't know. Honestly, I was like a walking zombie, and that's why I took myself off of it, because of how it made me feel. It made me, I didn't enjoy life. I didn't enjoy sex. I didn't enjoy anything about life. In fact, I'd be looking to do drugs just to get away from it. So when in February, when I stopped taking it, I mean, I've never felt better, honestly.
And you said that you've been prescribed and taken Geodon, Paxil, and Klonopin. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did they go over any of the side effects or warnings that go with any of those medications?
They briefly glaze over them when you get your medications. You have to see a pharmacist, is what they call it. They briefly go over it, but they don't go into in depth about the medications or anything like that. Essentially, it's just your doctor saying, "Let's try this," and we try it.
Okay. Are there any other disorders that have come after you started taking these medications?
Since then, I have not only has the nerve issues came to the surface, but I also developed a condition called Peyronie's disease, which isn't usually found in males until they're about 50 or so. But it physically alters basically the shape of your penis and the function and the ability to use it at all.
And you had a doctor who said that was because of one of the medications that you took?
Yes. After I was diagnosed with it, they sent me to an outside civilian facility, a urologist, because the VA is unable to, or ill-equipped to handle a case like that. So after dealing with it for 2 years through the VA, with every 6 months coming back to the VA and then telling me to wait another 6 months, they finally sent me to an outside urologist who told me that it was because of this, but unfortunately, there's really nothing they can do about it.
When your pharmacist educated you on these medicines, particularly with these antidepressants, antipsychotics, did they talk to you at all about the risks of suddenly stopping taking them?
No, they actually never covered that. In fact, all they did was kind of glaze over the medication. They would just name it, ask me if I had any questions, and then they would just kind of talk about one or two symptoms that I may experience, but it wasn't anything that they went in depth about. They didn't tell me about suddenly stopping on. They definitely didn't tell me about the Peyronie's disease or anything like that. It has affected my life to a great deal when it comes to being my self-image, I guess you could say, self-confidence. In fact, I've lost considerable, I mean, I hate to say it, but lost size in the penis itself because of it. There was a point for about a year and a half where it hurt to even have sexual intercourse. And the VA just told me I had to live with it and make it through it. I mean, luckily I have, a wife that is understanding and all of that. But my penis still has it, like on one side, it has no feeling whatsoever left in it. It has a huge curvature, and it's just something that I had to kind of come to terms with and accept. And I'm going to live with it the rest of my life because of that.
Is there anything that you want to add or that you would say to people who are going through any of what you've experienced, be it through the Peyronie's disease or through the numbness, tingling, burning?
If I could add anything, I would say get yourself a civilian doctor, because what I have experienced is that the VA is you're just a number to them. In fact, every time you go to them, you have to give them the last four of your social security, just like you were in the military still. So if there was anything I could add, it would be go see a civilian doctor. And before it's too late, I just kept going to the VA because I didn't have outside health insurance. And now I'm kind of stuck in the situation where I have only the VA to go to, where I wish I would have taken care of these neurological issues or the depression issues outside the VA, and not just taking the medicine and smiled and wait until next month to talk to him again.
It sounds like the VA has been kind of quick to jump to prescribing medications, but it also sounds like you had some of that behavior from the civilian doctor that you mentioned too. Do you feel like there was more with the VA?
There was more negligence. He said it's more negligent. He said he'd dealt with it before, but it's obvious that he hadn't. With the VA, it's like a whole different thing because they're shuffling you through.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it would be a fair statement to say, though, that most doctors could do to look at these cases a little bit closer rather than rubber stamp it PTSD?
Yeah, I would say they would, if they looked at it closer, because every person is different. The human body is different from every single individual. I really feel like if they would to pay attention to your previous medical history, the things that you've been through, and ask you what you want to do rather than tell you what to do. I think that would make a huge difference.
Was there anything that you noticed that you were specifically exposed to while you were overseas or while you were in the service?
While in Iraq, I was, besides the bullets and RPGs and mortar rounds, I was on a combat outpost on a MSR main supply route, Michigan, in between Ramadi and Fallujah. On our base, it was a college that had been taken over by the U.S. military. So the size of it was maybe a quarter mile by a quarter mile long. But within that, we also had a burn pit that we were required to keep burning constantly, 24/7. Not only that, but we didn't have working latrines or showers or anything like that. So we were also required to burn our own waste as well.